Hello, everyone. It's Tuesday evening. England are on the telly, and I'll be very surprised if anybody's actually watching this live. But if you are watching us live, subscribe, hit the like button, tell your friends to come along and watch, and we'll try and talk you through the latest Palace news, which is a little bit sparse, it must be said. Really pleased to have Luke with us tonight. Hello, Luke. How you doing?
Yeah, not too bad. Cheers for having me on, mate. Excited to finally be on this show. So, yeah, excited to talk
Brilliant
about
stuff.
the little news.
I'm excited that we have a game this week.
Oh, yeah, buzzing.
Looking forward to getting up early to get to St Pancras for that Nottingham train on Saturday.
Yeah.
So that should be good. Love to see your comments in the chat. As ever, we'll get them up on the screen and talk about them as and when. In fact, I'm going to show the first one now because Luke was telling me about this. Evan from Agus, hope I'm pronouncing your name right, Evan. Daniel Munoz injury. Tell us about that, Luke. They're playing Romania, you said.
Yeah, playing Romania in a friendly. Munoz, who scored that fabulous goal last weekend for Colombia, it's now gone from hero to zero in terms of injury now. 43rd minute it was. We don't know how serious it is at the moment. He walked off. I think it sounds like he asked to be subbed off, so it could be a precaution. But yeah, for now it's just a waiting game to see what the Colombian manager says post game. But yeah, walked off. Looked like he was high fiving his teammates in the dugout. So hoping it's not too serious.
Well, last time we saw that was Eze coming off. Who was that against? Said he was all right, and then Elise got injured. Everybody seemed to be back, and then suddenly we got injuries again. Have we heard any more about Super Sam Johnson, Nightingale, as he's now called?
Just latest is just going to see a specialist or something. So again, I think one to wait for Glasner's press conference and wait to see what he says.
Yeah, I'm going to start with Glasner, as you mentioned him. He's been mentioned quite a few times on the social media. Apparently, he did an interview with German publication Kicker, and everything seems to be positive. Before I go on about what he said, Luke, did you see the friendly in Marbella?
I didn't get to see all of it because I was working, but I saw the highlights. How about you? How did you find it?
The first half we seemed good, and Eze seemed very, very good. The second half was a little bit different. I wonder how players like Schlupp and I, who felt being in like what could only be described as the B team, if I'm being fair. But what can you do? But yeah, they played all right. I think the team they played, I can't for the life of me remember their name, but they were Finnish champions.
Bodo Glimt, wasn't it?
That was it. Well done. You've got a good memory. When you get a bit older, that goes. So yeah, so he seems to set up. The team seems to be setting up and adapting to this new style as they kind of seem to be in a position of being left wing, sort of in between left wing and attacking midfielder, if you know what I mean. If you could draw a line between where they'd be on your FIFA diagram, he'd be in the middle of it. I miss the days when you could move your players about on FIFA and put them where you wanted on the pitch. Now it's too strict, but I'm kind of going on a tangent there. If you miss the days of moving your players about on the pitch before you played the game in FIFA, let us know in the chat. That would be good. So, Luke, where was I? So Glasner's in and he's making very positive comments. I'm going to quote him here. I told the people in charge that if it's okay for them to continue to finish 16th or 17th and not get relegated, then I'm in the wrong manager for that. Fair enough. That shows a little bit of ambition, doesn't it?
Yeah, lovely comments to see, really. It's just exactly what Palace fans have been asking for all season.
I don't want to maintain the status quo. I want to develop something without tying it to a spot. Can you actually get out of that? Not going to get higher than 12 without spending shitloads of money.
It's difficult. I think it depends a lot on the manager and a lot on the structure you have. But I guess nowadays, are you saying spending loads of money or spending loads of profitable money? Because at the end of the day, if we can sell a few and then sign a few players back, then if you're breaking even these days, that's fine. We don't want to dive into FFP now, but there's surely got to be a bit of leeway in terms of the owners are going to have to lose a bit of money first to then kind of push on and get past 12, you'd think.
Well, we found out yesterday, didn't we, about the loan from MGG over in New York. So we'd actually have money to buy before we sold, and that way you don't get West Ham, do you? Where West Ham need to buy a player, and whoever's there seems to put the price up by 100 million because I know West Ham have got a bit of money because of the income from their stadium they don't pay for. We did anyway. That's another.
Yeah, it's interesting that, isn't it? Because you're saying like we got that loan out, and there's also been comments maybe from Glasner or reports saying like he wants his signings done early. So if they're doing that kind of loan to get the money in, maybe they're going to try and not do a deadline day madness like they sometimes try to do. That'll be interesting, won't it? Hello. Okay, it's just me. Can you comment if you can hear me, guys, in the YouTube chat? That has cut out. I thought it was my end, but by the looks of it, it might not be. We will just, first show, guys, and I'm in charge. Who would have thought it? Who would have thought it? I've clearly just hacked something just to take control here. I will read through a couple comments whilst we are waiting for him to return. Danny Imre calling for the right wing back spot. That would be really interesting. He's on really, really good form for the under 21s, isn't he? Getting a couple goals. That's kind of the exact type of right wing back you need. Sadly, Joe Ward won't be that type of player. I will try and contact as well, see what's going on here. But yeah, okay. Fast promotion to stream host. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Sorry about this, guys. We will carry on with a couple comments. I'll give it a couple minutes, and if he can't return by then, we will see what we do then. I'll chuck a message. Would Glasner give Danny a chance? Yeah, you'd like to think Glasner's the type of manager who would give Danny Imre a chance, wouldn't you? Because he likes to promote youth, you'd say, in what he's done before. But when you technically have options in the first team, we may not agree, but when you technically have options like Joe Ward and that, you may. Okay, everyone can hear me. That's good. Yeah, when you have technically options in the first team, Glasner may pick to go with them over someone like Danny Imre. But he's also been in the training photos, so that'd be really good to see. Tim says, I'd still say the majority of signs will be in the back half of the window. Yeah, it's hard, isn't it? Because Glasner will want his signings early, but there's also the Euros to deal with. Surely you can't make signings during the Euros. We also probably need to sell maybe one before we kind of sign. So let's say like a Mark Gay, that's going to be really hard as well. So we'll be interested. Feel free to write some comments in the chat, guys, whilst I try to find out. Here he is. He's returned.
Hey,
and we just said I've got my promotion straight away.
Yeah, it's yeah. What do you call it when you start a job and you put one of those things? So what
we read through some comments. There was a few suggesting could Danny Imre feature if Daniel Munoz is not playing or is injured. So yeah, that's where we got through.
Yeah, that's one of those ones we're going to have to look at later in the week when we we hear a bit more, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
well, it's what 90% of this show's about, in its speculation.
Yeah.
So anyway, going back to what Glasner said, what are your thoughts on this positivity? Because it's the polar opposite of what it was under Roy, where we didn't know how lucky we were being able to watch us play Premier League football season in, season out. And I can kind of see where he's coming from, but you know, he kind of been watching the same thing as us. And it seems that with this loan that I mentioned before I froze, we're looking to buy players early in the window so that Glasner can get to work straight away. Those are very positive comments. Are we a bubble waiting to be burst, Luke? Or am I just being typically Palace?
No, it's a bit of both, isn't it? It's nice to have some positive comments and some ambitious comments. No one's expecting these ambitious comments to happen straight away, I would like to think. No one's expecting it to happen in the next few games. This season's kind of a write-off anyways. So, it's just kind of maybe a message a little bit to the board to say, here's what I want to do. And a little message to excite us fans who, have been calling for even just a top half push, not just bottom half scrap. So, it's nice to hear, but at the end of the day, it's a results business. So if Glasner doesn't perform in the first few months of next season, not saying he's going to be sacked, he will just be questioned a bit on them comments, won't he? It's just how football works.
Yeah, exactly. And just thinking about the money that's been made available, we discussed on last night's show that you can go back and watch on YouTube if you go to the Back of the Nest YouTube channel. And I've really lost my thread. Being thrown offline, Luke, has completely thrown me. What was I talking about, man?
We were just talking about Glasner and his comments.
Glasner and his comments, yeah. The money for the main stand, I think, has now been ring fenced with Harrison Blitzer. And so we've got that injection of cash to actually, I think Parish might have been a bit afraid to put money into the club without having that stand secured and then gambling and going down. But now he's got the stand secured, he'll see that as, Parish's legacy, won't he?
Yeah, for sure. And what a legacy that would be for him. People can have their complaints or whatever about him. He's definitely made some mistakes over the years, but to take us from what we were 2 seasons after administration, get us into Premier League, keep us up, and then to have a new main stand, that would be a terrific achievement, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, and Simon Jordan, if you're watching, having a new stand, albeit not built yet, and taking bloody years to do, is better than having T-shirts with "I've bought the ground" printed on them when you bloody well hadn't. So stop having a pop at the chairman, Jordan. We love him, really. Now, it's also been reported from a Spanish site that Man City attempted to buy Eze last summer for 70 million euros. But he rejected it. That must have been the having Roy as your boss, going to make you want to stay there. You only train 3 days a week. Easy life, isn't it? No, 70 million sounds about right. What did we pay for him? 20 million?
20, 25. There's probably a little bit is there a sell-on clause in QPR? I think they get a bit of money. Yeah, so we need big bucks, don't we? So we need big bucks for sure. So
yeah, there you go, Richie, on the button there, mate. Well done.
Perfect. Yeah, 70 is a really nice amount, isn't it?
Yeah. Do you think we get that now? What with the FFP and a possible deflated transfer market because of clubs being worried about overspending?
Yeah.
Or is it a chance for other teams to come in and maybe splash a bit? I mean, we can really really use it, can't we?
Yeah, we could, and I agree a bit that it could be a deflated market. I think a lot of these days you see a lot of people like refer to the Harry Maguire transfer fee and stuff like that. And if January is anything to go by, and if FFP stays this serious, then you're just not gonna have these inflated transfer fees anymore. Some players are gonna have to go for less, but it'll still be a good amount. It's just how the market's gonna work. So we maybe have to expect a little bit less. I'd kind of expect Eze to go for something like 50 to 60. I don't know if these rumors of him having a release clause in his contract are true. That may actually help us if they are true. But yeah, I'd take 60 mil for him any day of the week.
And do you think we have to sell if we're going to buy because of the FFP and kind of balancing? I mean, there are obvious players that we can let go if we're going to buy quality upgrades on the likes of. I was going to pluralize it and say your Schlupsies and your Hughesies, but I like Schlupp and Hughes. What do you think? We've got to sell. How much do we need to sell to keep the books balanced?
I think when we sign these types of players, the whole idea with them is give them a few seasons and sell them for profit, and then kind of do it the same thing again. That's the type of club we are now at the moment. So yeah, I think we'll have to sell someone. And even if we didn't have to sell someone, I still think someone would be going this summer. I can't see Mark Gay staying past this summer. That's the one for me, I think.
Yeah, you might be right.
I think the others had their like Elise, if he doesn't get back till like April, whatever. Clubs may give him another season at Palace. He's only 22, he's in no rush. Eze, you could argue he'd have to go more for us if we need to push on. If he's getting 25, 26, his transfer fee may reduce. But yeah, Gay for me is going to be the one that we could see going in the summer.
Yeah, as Tim said, hello Tim. Not only that, you have big clubs that need to sell. Too much supply, not enough demand. So yeah, is it going to be like a crash? So yeah, that's interesting. But like we said again yesterday, is what's going to happen with Man City? What's going to happen with Chelsea? Man City are going to be really treading lightly, aren't they? Chelsea want to sell Gallagher for 50 million before the end of their fiscal year, which is the same as ours. Now, is that June? I think it's June, isn't it? Because that's when the contract's end, isn't it?
Yeah, so I think it's end of June, and that again, that's really interesting because who's going to want to spend that much money during mid Euros? I was speaking a bit about that whilst you were gone. We're just saying if you're going to want players in, you might have to wait till after the Euros because it's just going to be such a risk, isn't it? Buying players mid tournament, I just can't see it happening.
Yeah, Tim, thank you, Tim. June 30th there. Evans come up with a good point. As long as Parish is here, I think he'll keep our finances in check. I'm sure I've said it before on here and on the podcast we used to do that Parish is so scared of administration again that actually he brought us out of it. He has brought us a long way, regardless of what you think of him. He has been a knob at times as well, but not everybody's. Everybody's got their foibles, and everybody's a hypocrite. It's just the human condition. He's got the spotlight on him, but I really think that he's so scared of administration that he will, as Evan said, be like that. What do you reckon? He's not exactly a Tony Bloom, a gambler that will think, oh, let's go for it, because he's already got the assets here. If his loan thing goes on, which is the payback's based on future transfer incomings and profits, so it's a bit of a gamble, hoping that we get players further on down the line. It depends how quickly they need to pay it back. I mean, if it's future transfer profits, could we actually say, well, release clauses notwithstanding, well, no, we're not going to let you go. You're under contract.
Yeah, I do agree that he's definitely someone who's not going to splash that cash for sure. If he's worried about administration, kind of makes sense though. Maybe I think a lot of clubs also knew that the Premier League were going to start getting stricter, and that is got to strike fear in them as well. You don't need them deductions. There's too much money at stake.
Yeah, exactly. So, looking forward to Saturday. I know this isn't a match preview. Are you going up to Nottingham?
Yes, I am.
Yes,
So sounds like
I've
you are
never
too.
been.
Oh,
Never
nice.
been. Oh, sorry, Mitch blank there. Tim said that he thinks Chelsea will do whatever they can and sell as many players. Bit of a fire sale, bargains in their academy, which is pure profit for them, so they can get some of their money back and claw it back. But Mitch has come back, which I like. They might just blatantly blow past FFP and throw the lawyers' fan outrage at the problem.
Yeah, it's lots of doing, isn't it, as well? And I actually saw a Newcastle journo say that why don't Newcastle just take it and take the 4-point hit?
Yeah,
Which that's ridiculous, crazy.
it is. It is, but it's risk and reward, isn't it?
Yeah.
You've got Leicester. They've in the interim between the last match and now seem to be having a bit of bother as well, don't they? It's weird that the Premier League can deduct points from a different league.
Yeah, they're getting done by the EFL as well, I think, at the same
Are
time.
they?
So I think both the Prem and the EFL are kind of working together or something. Because I think I might be wrong, but they might be under a transfer embargo soon or some sort of embargo from the EFL. So it's just a mess, isn't it?
Yeah, that's no good, is it? Anyway, but to Nottingham, they're going to be fired up, aren't they? Having their 4-point deduction.
Yeah, I think everyone saw that their Everton results after their point deduction, and they were on like fire in their 7 games after. And you'd expect similar from Forest, especially with an owner who loves to, use his aggression. So
yeah, exactly. But we've got a new manager, new style. I think Forest are going to struggle with that. Are you confident that we'll get a win? Or do you just want us to play well? Because for me, it's a bit of a must-win game. Looking at the games after Bournemouth, not much of a chance of winning. But then I've got Roybal goggles on.
No, I think I want 4 points from Forest and Bournemouth really to just say, look, season done from there. We don't need to stress because our fixtures are quite hard towards the end of the season. And we need to see positive signs because it's a 3-week break that they've had. They've had a pre-season. You can't have that and still look bad in the last 15 minutes, let's say. But you know what? My main thing is don't concede in the last 15 minutes and I'll be happy.
Well, we've had 3 weeks to get fitness up.
You'd hope so, yeah.
Only a couple of injuries, so that's quite good for us. Just a shame it's Munoz and Sam Johnson.
Yeah, that's a huge one.
As I said at the start of the show, like and subscribe. Check out our social medias everywhere on the Twitter, on the kids stuff as well. I think we're on Instagram, and we've even got a Facebook, which is kind of more old people because kids don't go on Facebook anymore, do they? Thanks everybody who's been in the chat today. It's been lovely interacting with you all. Luke, brilliant to have you on. Hopefully we'll see some more of you.
Yep, sounds good.
Back of the nest, we'll have some more stuff later on in the week with a match preview, etc., etc. I've been Nick. He's been Luke. Up at Palace. Thanks very much.
Bye, guys.